your shelter of healing, a soak of peace. Our loved ones, our family, our friends.
Shabbat Shalom. So great to see your faces, or at least from the bridge of your noses up. And that's really why I wanted to talk to you for a moment. We're so grateful to be able to be together, and certainly in a beautiful outdoor space like this. So as you're greeting each other and reconnecting, by all means, keep your masks on. And once you're in your chairs, feel free to take them off and be comfortable per our latest set of guidelines. And we'll look forward to seeing your faces and your smiles. And Shabbat Shalom. We look forward to a beautiful service with you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, what a beautiful sound to hear this tent filled with the voices of Temple Israel. And whether you are joining us in our tent this evening or joining us from a distance, lovingly tuning in, we welcome you. We wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And we are very delighted to be together on such a beautiful evening and celebrating for so many reasons. And directly to my left is a person who's doing a lot of celebrating, who may be a familiar face to many of you. Jenna McMillan is here with us, who has had so many amazing things happen for her this week, but not the least of which, in her road to becoming a cantor, is having received her master's in sacred music. So she asked me, and she did it very politely, I might add, before the service, to call her Master McMillan. So, done. Yes, it was easy for me to do, really, because we're so proud of her and all that she's accomplished. I know she's going to share a little bit as well when she has a chance to speak to you directly. And we begin our service with words that are familiar, words that we all, I think, have come to say to one another, although maybe not as much as we would like to in the past year. Shalom Aleichem. And while we think of shalom and peace, peace is not just a moment where we are praying in the hope of containing a conflict or strife. It actually, shalom, gives us the opportunity in moments such as this to bring some sense of wholeness, completeness to our lives. So let's pray for that kind of shalom right now as we begin our service. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharim Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharim Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barhuni l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharim Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Melech מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שלום עליכם מלכי השרת מלכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 לי
We now bring in Shabbat together as we kindle the Sabbath lights, the flickering flame reminding us of the generations who came before who have lit these candles each Shabbat and symbolizing the light we kindle in our lives and in our communities. As we light these lights, I invite you to dwell on the pockets of light you found in the past week. For me, I obtained my master's and I got engaged to my boyfriend of 5 years. So as we light these lights, we reflect together on these special moments of light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
If you listen, listen. If you listen, you will hear Shabbat descend from her distant place, gently clearing the air of the steady buzz of the mundane, gently inviting you to stillness, gently preparing the space for the arrival of holiness. If you listen, listen. If you listen, you will hear the arrival of luminous wonder, a radiance of glory that touches your heart, so that love pulses through your veins, the gates of your soul burst open. You run through them, skipping, singing, Maher Ahuv, hurry, beloved. We sing Lecha Dodi together.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת, לקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבורך We rise together. Oh, Lecha dodi,
Kadodi,
Likrat kala,
Kat Kala,
Lishabbat,
Neshabat,
Kabbalat,
Kabbalah,
Lecha dodi,
Kadodi,
Likrat kala,
Kat Kala,
Lishabbat,
Neshabat,
Kabbalat, Lecha dodi,
Kadodi,
Likrat kala,
Kat Kala,
Lishabbat,
Neshabat,
Kabbalat,
Kabbalah,
Lecha dodi,
Kadodi,
Likrat kala,
Kat Kala,
Lishabbat,
Neshabat,
Kabbalat,
Kabbalah,
Lecha dodi,
Kadodi,
Lecha dodi, Lecha dodi.
Our ancestors said Hineni when God called to them. They said Hineni to show that they were ready to do what God asked. They said Hineni when their parents called to them and when their children called to them. They said Hineni when God asked them to leave their homes and journey to a new land. They said Hineni when they witnessed a miracle. They said Hineni when God called them to go on a special mission, even when they were uncertain of the future. Even God says Hineni, so that we know that God is always with us. Please rise for the Baruch.
La 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 la
Please be seated. God's love stretches from top to bottom. It stretches and grows and melds, the beginning and end. God's love reaches from start to finish. It reaches and spreads, forgetting just where it began. God's love teaches. With stories and laws and rules and prayers, it teaches us best how to live. In love, we listen. We too can stretch. We too can reach. We too can teach as we seek the new year ahead. Wrap us up in your peace like a great big talit. Hold us close with this prayer in your love. We speak now to the God of the universe, the singular, unified God, as we join in the words of Shema through the song, Listen.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen, listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen, listen to our God. Listen
nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malcho Leolam Vaed. Listen to our God.
Listen to our God.
Please be seated. And you shall love
You shall love
Adonai
Adonai
with all your soul,
with all your soul,
and all your mind.
all your mind.
Teach these words
and teach these words
day and night
day and
to
night
all your children,
all your children.
for it's their right.
For it's their right.
Wear them proudly as a sign upon your hand, and as a crown above your eyes. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates throughout all time.
So I'd like to introduce you all to somebody who you've already sort of met. Her name is Madison Gerstein. She's right there. She's been checking all of you out, and she has a very important role tonight because she is actually the niece of our couple who is about to receive a blessing for their upcoming wedding. And so I would like to introduce to you also Jessica Prentice and Matt Freed. If you'll stand in your seats, you'll be receiving a gift of a mezuzah, which is a gift of the Fred and Linda Gold Fund here at Temple Israel. And it will, we pray, bless your household for your lifetime together. And I know that Madison also will be blessing your house with visits and sleepovers all the time. Maybe not now, not now. So as the two of you hold hands and begin this journey together, soon you will stand beneath the chuppah here at Temple Israel. And we pray that God, who blessed our ancestors, will bless the two of you as you enter into this covenant of marriage together. We pray, O God, that you will sanctify their love, that you will help them create a home built on the values of Jewish tradition. And that as you move from this challenging time in the world, that your relationship, your connection, will be a bridge to more positive and wonderful and open free times in the future, a time of joy and celebration, that your love will help us transition from this pandemic to a life filled with joy and celebration. We know that you are the key to that future, so God, please guide them, support them, encourage them, and grant them the most precious gift, the gift of peace, as together we say, Amen.
Amen. Simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov, simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov, simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov, ye'anu. Simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov, simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov, simin tov u'mazel tov, u'mazel tov, v'simin tov,
On this Shabbat, in our moment of redemption, we promise we will not stand with our feet frozen to the ground. We will not stay silent when our voice is needed. We will not hide. We will not walk away. When there are tears, we will dry them. When there are hopes, we will support them. We know how slavery and sadness feel. We renew our promise this day to not stand idly by when others are suffering. We renew our promise this day to bring all people into our song of freedom. We sing the Micha Mocha together. Hashkivenu. Cause us, our Creator, to lie down in peace, and raise us up, O sovereign God, to renewed life and peace. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, guide us with your good counsel, and be our shield of mercy and of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and we pray over Jerusalem.
rise together for the Amidah. Adonai, sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehillatcha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, Vezocher Hasteavot ve'imahot, Umevii Geula livnei bneihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Hozer, Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו נשעני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמרת להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. As you're seated, we pray silently.
As we take a moment in our service to think of those who are in need of healing, we think of those who are in need of healing of body and spirit, those who are wounded in body and spirit, healing of our communities, healing of our homeland, healing of our world. And so we take this time in our service to think of those who need of healing, and we send our love to them as we sing the Mishaberach. A tweet from Avi Meir this morning at 7:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:20 p.m. Israel time. To those outside Israel, I urge you to download the Israeli Red Alert app. It'll notify you every time there's a rocket attack somewhere in Israel, giving you the smallest taste of the intensity of the current rocket fire from Gaza. It simply cannot be conveyed otherwise. If you don't know what an alert looks like, it's a pop-up on your home screen that gives you the name of a city, an approximate zone of where the rocket is going to fall, and how many seconds you have to get the safety of a bomb shelter. Often the time given is only 15 seconds. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you have 45. Everyone who lives in Israel knows these sirens all too well and knows what to do when they hear them. All of us who know and love people in Israel and have been checking in to make sure they are safe and able to get to a bomb shelter quickly have gotten to know them a little bit, too. I've been emailing Ryan's cousin who lives in Tel Aviv. I told him how worried we've been. He said they're fine. Of course Israelis are fine. Both he and his daughter and her family have bomb shelters in their homes. His has concrete walls that are a foot thick. Hers is entirely below ground. He said they can hear the explosions when the rockets hit, but they are not near him. He told me not to worry, but of course he did. And of course, I will worry. As an American, I do not live with red alerts, with sirens blaring and explosions either in the distance or in my backyard. I remember practicing for bomb threats when I was at Hillel during Operation Desert Storm. We had to take the same position in the hallway that we did for tornado drills. On the ground, fetal position, hands overhead. I'm not sure that that position would have really protected me in the case of either emergency, but we practiced nonetheless. Because I cannot understand truly what it means to live under this threat, I asked someone who does. I have been in touch with Nina Yahalomi, our previous shlicha. I asked her about her and her family and told her that we were praying for her safety. She sent me a picture of her children lined up on mattresses on the floor sleeping in their home bomb shelter. They were safe. She said they were doing their best. Then Nina got called to reserve duty and left her family to go to her base. She is an officer in the National Medical War Room of the Home Front Command. Can you even imagine? The next message she sent was her on the ground next to her car on the way home. It was a video The siren was wailing, and she was covering her head for protection. I thought about covering my head in the hallway of school, how in neither situation that would have been of any help. But we do what we're trained to do, and thank God she arrived home safely. When I asked her if I could tell her story, it took her a while to respond. I apologized for even bothering her for texting during this situation. She apologized then for delaying and said it was because she had been in the war room all day and she can't have her phone with her. When I asked Nina what she would want to say tonight if she were here before you, this is what she said. Such a hard question. I have to admit that what's happening within Israel between Jews and Israeli Arabs worries me as much as the rockets from Gaza. But if there's one thing, I believe 95% of people on both sides just want to get up in the morning, drink their orange juice, send their kids to school, and go to work. I don't look away from the problems or challenges, but I believe there's a way to live side by side, even to manage the conflict and not even necessarily to solve it. There needs to be a will, a small crack to start with. I'm not naive. It takes work, but possible. Both sides will have to compromise. We're at a tipping point, but is it just too much? It's true in Gaza, and it's also true for what's going on between Jews and Israeli Arabs within Israel. She ended with, "It's terrible." Once I wiped the tears from my eyes, I thanked Nina for her service, something I said I never have nor will ever do. Nina was gracious enough to say to me that there are many ways to defend the state of Israel, and we are doing our part here in America by supporting them and letting them know that we stand with them. There are so many conflicts on so many fronts. Gaza, Jewish Israelis and Israeli Arabs in the streets, right-leaning Jews in America, left-leaning Jews in America, Jews and non-Jews who don't understand our love for Israel at all. I wrote this sermon 5 times. More, actually, if you count revisions within revisions. I read as much as I could and talked to as many people I could in Israel and in America. Still, I knew that there is no easy way to discuss what is happening in Israel right now, even with a congregation who loves Israel, that's named for Israel, without sounding biased to one point of view or another. I do not have the answers, nor do I pretend to. Yiftach Leket, our new community shaliach, wrote this in an email right before Shabbat. Being united in support for Israel does not mean we have to hold a single opinion about events on the ground. Thank you, Yiftach. So well said. So how do I address the issue? How do I talk to you on Shabbat, and not just any Shabbat, the Shabbat before Shavuot, Zman Matan Toratenu, the time of God giving us the Torah? I want to begin with 2 declarative statements. First ancient, second modern. The first is from the 10 Commandments, the Torah portion that we will read on Shavuot. The first commandment is, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. I am Adonai your God. You shall have no other gods before me. There is no equivocation. It is clear. God is God, our God, one God. Now, a modern declarative statement. Israel has the right to defend herself. When under attack from thousands of rockets, Israel must defend and protect those under fire. What is interesting about the 10 Commandments is that there are 10 of them. God didn't stop at number 1. There are 9 more. God is God, but God is also laying out how to go about worshiping God and what we need to do to live together in harmony. Clearly, God knows us well, knows we are but flesh and blood, and we need some direction. So God commanded us not to steal from each other, not to murder each other, or covet each other's possessions. Who would have thought we would have needed to be told such things? God. God thought we needed to be told such things and how to live together. Commandment number 1 is a declarative statement. The rest are instructions, how-tos. Really, the entirety of our Torah, Talmud, everything that comes after is a how-to. We are constantly evolving, facing new circumstances, adjusting to the times. Judaism has never been static except for that one statement: I am Adonai, your God. Nina and Yiftach both spoke of the great sadness over neighbors fighting neighbors. I read articles from Daniel Hartman and Daniel Gordis, two brilliant teachers and thought leaders in Israel, people on the right, on the left, on center. Most agree the argument is not over the right for Israel to be able to defend herself. She has a right and she must. The argument is in the how-tos. Even they, the ones under fire and rushing to shelter, are asking the questions that are hard to ask and can appear to be critical of Israel. But arguing amongst ourselves is a Jewish pastime since forever. The entire Talmud is a record of the rabbis arguing and debating each other. If we waited for a time to debate the how-tos until there was no fighting, no danger, no outside threat, we would never even begin. Even when the bombs are dropping, we must argue over the how-tos. Daniel Gordis, a fellow at the Shalem College and a prolific author and speaker on Israel, said this: as Shabbat nears, this is a united and determined country, but also a devastated and tear-soaked one. We're going to defeat Hamas, that is certain. Once we do, though, and once the smoke clears, we now know we're going to face an even harder challenge. Can we build something here that can last? Can we restore the sense of hope we'd have for what we've built? When the smoke clears, we will have to enact the how-tos, and it will be hard. As Nina said, as Gordis said in his article, as Yiftach wrote in his email to our community tonight, it's not just about borders. It's not just about Gaza or the North or Jerusalem. It's about neighbors who are living a shared existence, more than just tolerating each other, living next to each other. All of their fears is that that has been erased too. Gordis reminds us that during the pandemic, the cooperation between Jewish and Arab medical professionals was met with great gratitude, and there was a new sense of shared purpose. Now, these efforts to live together are also at risk of going up in smoke. If you got Yiftach's email tonight, he even shared pictures of Jews and Israeli Arabs coming together to prove their peaceful coexistence and their desire for an end to this conflict. It seems like we are facing war from within, we are facing war from without. Friends, I believe we can love and show our steadfast support by calling friends and family in Israel and praying for them. Nina said they can feel it coming their way. We can donate money to the IDF, Magen David Adom, and other medical and support organizations on the ground. I think we can also support Israel by having the same difficult conversations that the Israelis are having, so that when the smoke clears, we are prepared to be partners in the building of what Gordis calls a society genuinely worthy of all the young men and women who gave their lives so we can have it. Our hearts are in the East. I will end with words from Psalm 122. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be at peace. May their well-being be within your ramparts, peace in your glorious spaces. For the sake of all our brothers, sisters, and friends, I pray for your well-being. For the sake of the house of the Holy One, our God, I will never stop speaking goodness for you. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen.